So most interviews, I feel like, start with the person who's interviewing the person, like, introduce them. So I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce yourself because you might introduce something that I don't know, and you know yourself the best.
So yeah, what's up? My name is Number7, or some of you may know me as Thomas, but I am an electronic music artist based out of North Andover, Massachusetts, and I'm currently at UMass Amherst. I've been producing music for the last 4 years, and the past year that has all been all been about house music. So this recent scene in Amherst that came up is really exciting to me, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had a really big past couple weekends. Like, how is that like? Like, would you maybe give a little bit introduction to that too?
I mean, yeah, it was
a
awesome.
lot of stuff going on.
The Up and Up people really threw some crazy events, so shout out to them. And the local Mojo people, they really threw down. I was happy to be involved. It was crazy to see everyone coming out and enjoying the music that we're playing, especially because people may not know like the songs we're playing, but the energy that they kept throughout was awesome. Especially at Chucky's that one night. Shout out Chucky. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a super fun night. That ended up being like one of my favorite events of the weekend because I felt like you walked into like his basement literally, and it's like 25 people literally like giving it their all.
Yeah, it was the energy that was there.
Like,
it wasn't the numbers that impressed me. It was like it was the numbers that showed out. It was what they did. Like that was probably, I was telling Owen, like that was probably one of my favorite sets that I've played so far. Not even like whole event that I've been to, but me personally, it was like the energy that was there. It was received well, and I appreciated it. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. That day was really awesome. It started early, ended late. Like, that was really fun.
Yeah, like, I'm really hopeful about what that can bring because, like, they showed out in the day and at night, so it's hopeful.
Yeah, that was... And it's, like, I walked in and I, like, knew half the people there, and, like, it was, like, DJs who, like, haven't DJ'd yet, but, like, you know, are, like,
I love those
bedroom
events
DJs
it's like,
and stuff like that.
People can test the waters, like, oh, yeah, I'll mix 4 songs, 5 songs. Like, that's how I kind of started in on this, like, just walking up to Owen and Zach on their sets, be like, yo, let me pick the next song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely kind of, like, breaking down, like, the exclusivity of being a DJ at an event, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and I felt it had definitely, like, what you were saying, like, a different energy of, like... there's not the same pressure to like play some like crowd pleaser, like
like I felt more so during the day festival part where it's like even then, so I knew it was my set and it was a house Thursday's event, so it was pretty lenient, but I knew I wanted to get people singing because it was this first event of the day. But yeah, at Chucky's house, like we were throwing down whatever we wanted to, and they were dancing regardless, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. So and then previous to that day too, there was the another rave, like
there was that Theta Chi rave. I personally did not attend, but I know a bunch of the DJs and I saw the footage, and that was jaw-dropping from my perspective to see that sort of energy around house music at one of the larger frats, not even at this school but in the country. So it was amazing to see for my friends and for house music in general.
Yeah. So you said you're from Hanover.
North Andover.
Oh, yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. Like, you
East
can tell
Coast
probably
knows.
I'm not from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
like,
no, all good,
there's
all good.
so many names
we got some
to
weird
learn
names
and all
out here,
that.
don't worry.
Yeah. So, like, when did you first, like, discover house music? When did you start producing, DJing, all, like, what came first?
So house music definitely came first. I mean, I grew up in a fairly, I'd say, mainstream music culture, like, friend group where I grew up a lot, like, listening to Drake and Kanye, but, I mean, like, it was probably middle school where I kind of got into the house and EDM wave with, like, a lot of big room stuff. Like, I remember listening to, like, Don Diablo, like, early Oliver Heldens, like, a lot of that stuff kind of got me onto it, but like it was always like a me thing. Like I didn't have many friends to like share it with. There'd be a few kids who like knew of it and would like hear me out when I was like, yo, listen to this.
Yeah.
But it's not like they had their playlists and stuff like that. So it was definitely like more subtle. But the older that I've become, especially coming to college, like seeing that other people appreciate it too is really cool. But yeah, like in that same sense, I not grew up producing that music, but when I first started producing, it was like rap beats and hip hop beats, because I have a bunch of friends who are artists in that genre. So it was more so like, this is the environment I'm in. But once I kind of got my own grounds, I was like, well, what do I want to do as an artist that'll kind of fulfill this little journey that I'm on? I don't really know. And at the end of the day, I was like, well, house music, it's always been house music, so like might as well just go with house music.
Yeah, I feel like that's how a lot of people get their start of like producing rap beats for their friends.
Yeah, because
and then
it was like the most accessible thing, because they were like, yeah, I'll give you this DAW if you help me make beats for this. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, let's do it. So
yeah, and they're like, I feel like even that like big room sound that you were talking about, like I associate that with like being like a teenager and like walking like to school listening to like.
I remember like I was in high school just walking. I like core memory is walking through the high school listening to Gecko by Oliver Heldens. Like that sort of genre was like my thing, and I don't know. I feel like people thought it was kind of weird, so it was like definitely was not mainstream at the time in my like area at least.
Yeah, definitely for me too. Like I would show a song to a friend and they'd be like, I'd show like a couple songs to my friends and they'd be like, all of these sound the same.
Yeah,
what do
like,
you
this is cool, but like, okay, it just sounds the same, you know?
Yeah, I felt it was really interesting to see. So you said, so when did you start making that shift like from beats to like house music?
So
that in college?
I'd say around, so it was like my 21st birthday. I had gone to Miami with my friend, and you know, we did the typical 21st birthday in Miami deal, like clubs and everything. And I was sitting there in the club, like as a music head, like I'm not focused on like anything. I'm just staring at the DJ, you know what I mean? Like what track is this? Like deconstructing the song instrumentals in my head, like being a producer that I wanted to be. Like that's just like my mindset. And then like being in that environment is just seeing that someone was up there doing their thing with their music and the music that they love, just like enjoying themselves. I was like, maybe this is for me. And then literally I remember I came home from Miami and started making some house music, and I came back to school because I was like, I got back like 2 weeks before I moved back in my junior year, and I saw Owen. He was like, yo, I just got back from EDC, and I was like, dude, look at these. I found house music again too. So yeah, it felt like it all kind of aligned itself, because like I was at a point in my music production career, it's like I was making stuff, but like my best work would be a random drill beat, and I have no connections to any drill artists, and that wasn't necessarily the avenue that I wanted to go in. So I was like, let's just switch it up. So
yeah, it's definitely like being a producer without any connections. Even myself, it's like you make something and you were like, that's so cool, like let me get someone to sing on this, and then you're like, oh wait, like I'm 15 years old and like I literally don't know anyone who can sing.
You think you deserve someone who's actually going to do it proper justice, but at the same time it's like you're just a bedroom producer, so it's like take what you can get. So yeah, in the same sense as like my own artist, I can like control the final product more and make it really be something that I want to represent, rather than just producing for an artist and then not being in control most of the cases, unless like I mean, I wasn't at that point in my career yet, so yeah.
So how is that like coming from Miami and then going back to Mass? Like, did you see any like sort of discrepancy in the scene?
It was definitely like kind of like a slap in the face coming back to like Pitbull and I don't know who else, Bad Bunny. I mean, like all respect, those are great party songs, but like the mood, it was kind of like a mood killer. But that's kind of like what drove me. I was like, no, like there's culture out there, there's people who appreciate out there, they just don't know it yet here, or at least like I wasn't connected to the people who I'm connected to now. So it's like it kind of made like a little goal in my head to like make it here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Disclaimer, we don't hate Bad Bunny.
Oh yeah, no.
We don't hate
absolute
Pitbull.
fantastic artist.
We just would rather not play the same 3 songs
Yes.
over and over again. Yeah.
Yes, precisely.
That's hilarious.
No
Yeah.
hate.
So, what about House Thursdays? Like, so obviously House Thursdays radio here. We're making all these. We're
Yeah.
throwing these parties, like trying to get the scene to where we'd like it to be in Massachusetts. But how did you get involved with them?
So as I previously mentioned, I'd shown some tracks to Owen, and he kind of knew that that was my direction, kind of headed for, that I was into that house scene, and I was expressing to them how I wanted to be involved. I just started showing up at all the events, and I ended up just on my own time making some graphics for him to kind of like prove myself that I was like all in, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of keep myself in the loop. Kind of forced it, but
Yeah.
it worked out because now I'm one of the DJs. So, but yeah, it was kind of just like luck, you know, like reconnecting with Owen and then just like showing them that like this is my passion. It's not just like I don't want to just party. Like it's about the house music, you know what I mean? I do want to party, but I want to party with house music and like
Yeah.
be in control with that. And so yeah, I mean, I started just with those graphics and slowly learned how to DJ.
Yeah.
Got my board over break, and it's kind of been history from there.
Yeah, that's not something you hear every day. Somebody, started out as a graphic designer, as a DJ career. But
I mean,
yeah,
I was like,
you gotta
I
do what
get
you
in
gotta
there
do.
somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta do what you need to do to fit in, I guess.
He's like, I don't know how to
And-
DJ yet, but once I'm in there, they'll teach me.
Yeah. So, you've had 2 releases so far.
Yeah.
What was like the process in making those? How is it like in the studio? I know you've collaborated with Locked In. How is it like with him? Like,
So yeah,
what's your process?
honestly,
really?
like being in the studio is my favorite thing to do, whether it's just like alone in my room or just it's with someone else, other artists. It's awesome. But the first release, Drugs With Me, that was a track that Owen had an idea for. I forget the original vocals that he had sent me over a track that he made in like Ableton Light or something. And I kind of ran with the idea of just like a bass line, and I had sent him like a rough demo, and he had sent me that vocal file of what like the hook of the song, Do Drugs With Me. And I slapped it on there, and it worked out, and we spent probably like 6 hours one night on it, and then we had a finished product. All I needed was like, I mean, I say finished product now, but or back then, but now I don't feel like it's a completed track, but for the time being it was definitely progress. But I mean, yeah, like they kind of like summarized the influence that was around me, kind of like I had the capabilities and these were ideas feeding into me, and they just happened to align with what I was doing. So it was kind of like a joint effort, even though I was the one in the DAW, but like I wouldn't have made that track if it wasn't for the group around me. So that's really cool for it to be
Yeah.
like my first release too.
And I definitely remember hearing that, like in the before it came out, and that's actually how me and Owen met, like at the producer club and everything.
That's awesome.
And he showed me that, and that was really cool.
Like I had a few songs before that I had made that like the arrangements were done, but I wasn't really like, oh, I want to release this, I want this to be me. But like it was like really cool for that to like formulate within like literally 3 days. I think it was the most unorganized, most unprofessional release I think of my career. hopefully will be the most unprofessional of my career. But I mean,
it's only up.
That's how excited
Yeah.
we were. We did it, and like 3 days later we're like, yo, it's out. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome. I mean, looking back on it might not be like my best body of work, but I think the idea and how it formulated really meant something, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it definitely shows the process and like shows how much you've grown. And like even with me, like I have terrible tracks that like
Yeah.
I've released like on little like weird websites and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but like there's just nobody to see that. So
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
goes to show that like you already have a big audience for like just your first couple of tracks, and
Yeah,
like
it's awesome.
it's kind of working under a microscope
yeah, even
even
the
when you're still
second
developing.
being able to work with Locked In, as you mentioned, that's he's the actual one who gave me FL Studio, so yeah, he's definitely one of the reasons I'm in here. But yeah, it's kind of the same sense. He's like a rap artist, not rap specific, but definitely not house music. And it's cool just like being in the same studio environment. Like we're feeding off of each other. Like we had no intention of like that was just like a track I had, and I was just playing music over this like his speakers, and he was like, "Yo, like I like this one." Like I was like, "Let's go up to the studio," and that turned out on that track. So like, it's cool to just like be in that position to feed off of other artists and be able to contribute and like give out something that's like me and now him. And like we have other stuff that we're working on too, but like I'm excited to do that process with a lot of other people now that my foot's in the door.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like a key thing to like continue growing as like a producer, like collaboration and, you know, getting in with all those artists who can do a lot for you and you could do a lot for them. Is kind of like the give and take.
Yeah.
And then also the song "Do Drugs with Me." That's not a call to action.
Oh yeah, no.
That's I don't think we have to
Disclaimer.
bleep that, but like yeah, it's just the name of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great. Like I'm really excited to see how your stuff
Yeah, I'm excited.
like comes out in the next, you know,
I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly
50 years
when
as a
the next
producer.
release is coming, but I'm excited about the stuff that I've been working on. Definitely a lot of influential figures, both like in as label artists who I have no connection to, as well as like my friends here that I'm making. It's a lot of beneficial influence that's really going into this. So I'm gonna be happy when these are done.
Yeah, that's great. So let's see what else. If you were to say one thing to the UMass student body, what would it be? Because everyone who goes to UMass is listening right now.
Dance. You go to a party and I see you guys on your phone, just go home. We know you're there.
Go
just
home.
Dance, man. The best thing you can do for a DJ is just dance. Like, who cares? It's not embarrassing. You're at a party, man. Like,
Yeah, it's sort of like giving in to the
just
music and
embrace it,
trusting.
You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, hopefully I'll be doing this music thing for a while, but for a lot of kids, like, you're in college for one time, like, embrace it, enjoy it. Like, you're doing the DJ a favor, you're doing the venue a favor, you're doing your friends a favor, you're doing the strangers you don't know there a favor by just being involved and enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
It's fun to see. It makes it better from my DJ perspective too.
Yeah,
when I
it's
see
sort of
people
like
enjoying themselves.
at like just this past weekend at the in New York, like with all the Fredigan like pop-up stuff. Have you been seeing all that? Yeah, it's like it's sort of like they're doing this pop-up thing in Times Square, and it's like, yo, there's so many people here, but like so many people are taking videos and all that stuff, and it's like, bro,
I mean,
it's
granted,
literally
that is a once in a
Fredigan,
lifetime like
Skrillex,
experience, like to record. I probably would be recording Fredigan and Skrillex, but
yeah, for sure.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's like at the sense, like we saw it at the Bundle Up Festival and at Chucky's after. It's like, I guarantee 70%, 80%. I mean, I don't want to like lowball anyone because we had a lot of house heads there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I guarantee they didn't know a lot of the music, but they were dancing like it was their favorite song, and it was great. So that's kind of the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I had a great time in those events. Like, it was just great to see how did it, from when you first started at UMass, like what was the party scene, or like what would you be doing in those weekends without these events?
So yeah, like definitely that's kind of like, it's funny because like back then I would be in charge of like the music at my pre-games before I was even like wanting to be a DJ. So looking back on it's kind of funny, but it was all just like normal party music, just like fitting in with the mainstream. Like I mean, I would try and play like a few EDM songs here and there, but it was by no means like what it is now. And especially going out, like I was a freshman going to frats at some point, you know what I mean? Like going to those parties, and I mean, you would hear a couple remixes, but like going out, I knew I was just going to party to rap and pop music.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that at all, but it's like seeing now, like, I can go to an event that I'm not even DJing at, and it's house music. Like, sometimes I'm at Spoke and they're playing like Chami, and it's great. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see that it's not just me and people are waking up to the beautiful nature of house music.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a worldwide movement,
Yeah.
and it's just getting better for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm on the tail end of this at UMass, but it's definitely just starting here,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Now let's talk about this just 2 days ago at the 2 nights ago at the Drake
Oh, the
in
Drake,
downtown
yes.
Amherst.
Shout out to Drake for having me. That's the first time I was on a stage and not just like a little DJ booth. So I was the first, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But it was awesome. I mean, I was up there for like an hour 15 minutes. I got to open for some awesome bands, and I kind of just like, I rolled with the assignment. I didn't want to fit in. I didn't want to just play what I think they were expecting to hear. I wanted to play what I wanted them to hear, and I wanted to put them in a certain vibe and mood, and I think I succeeded in that, and I got some compliments, and I'm happy how it was received. Again, it wasn't like the biggest party per se because I was just opening, but it was a great learning experience, and definitely put a lot of confidence under my belt going forward.
Especially with a venue like that. Like,
Exactly.
they've got a disco ball.
It was the
in
most
there,
professional place, and I was staring at that disco ball all night.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like with opening, like, how would you sort of give discrepancies to like opening and closing and playing like huge Darty with like,
I mean,
then in the basement?
to
like,
be honest, that opening set was probably the most I've ever had to think before a set, because usually going in, I'm like, I'm going to play some crazy stuff. I'm going to get them dancing. They're going to like, it's going to be awesome. But I was like, I got to welcome them in. I have to set a certain mood, but at the same time still provide a Number7 DJ set. That's
Yeah.
not just someone playing music, you know what I mean? So
yeah, of course.
it was kind of not hard, because like it's really fun finding new music for me, but I found a lot of those songs that day, and it was really cool to see it pay off and have like a set that was like kind of planned out, kind of just like vibed out, but it was really cool. Different experience than like say at Chucky's that one night when I was on at like, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning. Like that's a different type of energy, but I appreciate them both.
Yeah. That's interesting to hear, appreciating them both even though they're different. And like with thinking about the set, like, which that's really cool, of like how you found a lot of the songs like the day of. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's a really stressful feeling. Like, you like
Yeah.
wake up and you're like, oh my God, like, do I have enough music
Oh my
to
God,
like
that
sustain
night,
this event?
That night
like,
and that morning, I was texting. I texted like 3 different girls, like, "Hey, can you send me some indie music playlists? Like, I don't really know what's going on right there in that world right now." And then Jackson kind of reassured me that, like, dude, it's whatever you want. And I was like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really
So, yeah.
important. Like,
and then,
because obviously you had the bands following you
Yeah.
after that, and so you never really know. But yeah, I feel like when you're booked to do that, like, you need to show up, you need to do your thing.
yeah, that's kind of
and,
how I
like,
saw it. It's like they booked Number7, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So they're gonna get a Number7 set, and people see that, and I hope they learn that that's what Number7's gonna bring. So
Yeah. And what does the Number7 set entail musically, with the vibes? Do you have a journey you take people on? Like, what does that look like when you're in the crowd?
In terms of being in the crowd, I think it's just really, like, this is a broad statement, but it's just a good vibe. Like, I don't want to make anyone feel out of place. I love playing different types of music, but I love making people dance. And like,
Yeah.
I like a lot of songs that I've been playing are remixes of songs over a house beat, and I get a lot of joy out of people singing songs but it's a version that they don't know, and it's that kind of excitement to it that keeps them engaged.
Yeah. So would you say that's like sort of the balance?
I like the engaging aspect of a DJ set, where it's
Yeah.
like they can't get too comfortable and just listen, where there's going to be some sort of excitement or some song that they don't know yet I say. But
Yeah.
that's a really good question, actually. I wish I had like a more like a stronger statement.
Yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of, you spoke a lot about like comfortability, and like it's hard to sort of find that, like, are people like comfortable, or like
Yeah.
like is it bad that they're not comfortable, like
I kind of like played on
yeah.
that line the night before the Drake. I was at Pie Cap, I think I was DJing at. It was like a mixer for them, and I showed up and they were listening to some house music, and I was like, okay, cool, I like this. And they were talking to me while I was setting up, and they're like, yeah, you can play whatever, like we like the house vibes, like, but once the girls start showing up, like we'll play some sing-alongs. I was like, yeah, just give me the word. And it was cool to see like them appreciate that, but also realize that like they need something to keep them engaged. But throughout the night I was getting some requests for like some girl requests some Fisher song, and
yeah.
I kind of rolled with that and kind of took it as an opportunity. But like there were times where people kind of like got not like sick of it, but like they wanted to hear something more
Yeah.
mainstream. So like it is a fine line, especially like at these parties that you don't necessarily know the target audience, where it's like if you're going to a show that like they're aware it's going to be house music, that's a
Yeah.
different story. Or like a house event, that's a different story. But like that's kind of like the fun part of being a DJ. It's like trial and error. Sometimes you miss on a song that you thought they were going to like. Sometimes you play a song that's a filler and they go crazy. So
Yeah, and it's like, I find that like with the generalities of sort of like, oh, guys will love the house music and like girls will hate the house music. Like,
no, but the girls are the ones coming up and requesting. It's
exactly.
funny.
Like we at the Darty thrown by Up and Up, like so many girls going with the house music, and then you can see some guys like are just like, what is this stuff?
Yeah.
Like it depends on the person. It really like there's a large like mix in such a big school like that.
Yeah.
So with all this talk about gigs and everything, is there a bad gig in your opinion?
Bad gig. I want to say no, but I feel like that's going to bite me in the butt if I do. But I mean, if it's something that you really can't get behind, because at the end of the day, it's like DJing's getting up there to play your music and you're supposed to have a good time. So I don't know what logistic it may be. If it's the type of music they want, you're just against. If it's the people asking for it, or if it's the place, like if you don't have the vibe, you don't have the vibe. But I say go for it. It's like the line of it being scary versus just not right for you. Because like the Blue Lagoon event, I was terrified, but I knew it was right for me, so I did it, and then it was awesome. But like, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's a bad event. There's just better events.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, I remember getting ready for that event. Like for me, like that was like my first gig, like other than literally in my bedroom.
Exactly. Yeah, me too.
And I was absolutely like pooping my pants
literally,
like before. Like I was.
Owen was
like,
checking in every 5 minutes. Like, you sure you want to do this? I was like, checking in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you hear that like there's a whole line out the door.
Yeah, like seeing that
and
before
then you
was
get
awesome.
like playing your first song, you get the transition gig, and then it's all good. I feel like.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
Yeah,
like that compared to like I wouldn't call it a bad event. I think I don't even call it an event. My first like gig, it was closing up that like dye tournament that one time. It was raining out. There was probably like 25 kids left. They couldn't even see me up there where I was mixing. It was on a little Wego, and like that wasn't a bad event, but it wasn't crazy. It wasn't good. It wasn't. I mean, unless something goes wrong technical wise or your gear gets messed up, then it's a bad event. But if you get to play your music, it's a great day.
Yeah, I would definitely say that playing your music and like showing your style, and if you get any response, like I feel like it's important to stay that track.
Either way, it's experience. It's you mixed that song and that song, and you didn't have a chance to go back and do it again, so that's beneficial.
And it's really tempting to sort of like cover like all ground, and like I can play all different types of music, like you should be able to do that to a certain point, but then like you see,
like to your point, you asked like what does the Number7 set entail. It's like you don't want it to be like oh, I'm showing up to DJ, but I'm gonna ask for your playlist. Like it doesn't work like that. So
it doesn't make any sense. And like you don't see like Subtronics like doing like a wedding set, like
exactly.
They're just not gonna do that. They're just
I mean, there's a certain level of like finding your lane, but I'm at the point in my quote career where like no bad gig's a bad gig, or no gig's a bad gig, so I'll take it.
So, so hold on. We have a fun segment here. Let's say you're going to festival, EDC,
Okay.
you know, wherever, Lollapalooza, like Ultra Miami,
Yeah.
wherever. Are you bringing your USB? This is really important.
Yes, I'm bringing 2, 1 with my sets and 2 with my demo, and copies of each.
Yeah, we love that answer. You're
So
like
yes.
just fanny pack.
My
like,
demo is still in
yeah.
the mix, but it's with other music.
Yeah.
You know.
Or like most people have like water in their fanny pack. You just have like
I have
6
USBs, and that is what I will say on air.
yeah.
My USBs.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to plug? Your Instagram or your
Yeah,
I don't know.
Number7 Sounds on Instagram, Number7 on Spotify. Definitely keep up.
Yeah.
Shout out, Locked In and the boys back at home, keeping
shout out
me
them all.
grounded. You know what I mean, and especially the House Thursdays crew here. You guys really give me life, so you give me purpose.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to do that.
I'm happy to be
Yeah,
here, and thank you, Luca S, for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you for listening to House Thursdays Radio. This is Number7. If you want more information, obviously, check out his Instagram. If you'd like, you can. And thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Ooh.